supplies. The yarn that I'm using today is Bernat Baby Blanket. Don't remember where I bought this, probably Michael's or Hobby Lobby. That pattern is probably on the inside of the label. And it is a 6-weight Baby Lilac color. It is 100% polyester, 10.5 ounces, and it's very soft. It's a great yarn. I love using this yarn. Also, we've got our trim. I had made something else with this, and I don't have the label for it, but just find whatever type of trim you want to put on there, some type of fuzzy yarn perhaps. And I've got this one today that I'm going to use. This is the Bernat Pipsqueak. A little bit thicker than the other one, not too much, but I'm going to put that one on the slippers today. This is a 5-weight. If you can't find the exact one, it's also 100% polyester. All right, so we're going to use that for our trim. So we have our yarn. That's the trim I'm going to use, the Bernat Pipsqueak. You want to have a wide-eyed blunt needle for weaving in the ends. You also need a stitch marker, and the crochet hook I'm using is a 9.00 millimeter. This one is also known as a size I. And let's get started on this project. First, I'll show you how to adjust for the right size. Okay, I know all of you are probably anxious to get started, but I did want to show how to adjust for the shoe size, and so that you get the right slipper size, not just for yourself, but if you want to make it for someone else. And I have a partially made slipper here, and I grabbed one of my shoes. I wear a 7.5. This is a 7.5 shoe. I measured it from the top where it touches my ankle to the toe, and it came to 6.5 inches. And this is exactly what I have on my slipper, so I know it's going to fit. And if you want to make some slippers for someone else, if you don't have a shoe to measure, you can certainly grab one at a store in the shoe department. And if you have a friend, say they're a size 9 or 10, grab a pair of shoes that are just like that and measure it, and you should be good to go for making the slippers. So also, if I'm not a wide shoe, I'm just average, but if you have somebody who's wider, when you do start out making the slipper, we start out with 10 half double crochets at the toe. So you could start out with, say, 12 or 13 or 14 to make the slipper wider, if that is something that you need to do. And you'll see what I mean when we start. But see there right at the toe, those are 10 half double crochets. And you could just start out with, say, 12 maybe for a wider shoe. So I did want to show you that, and let's go. Start with a magic circle. Okay, we're starting at the toe of the slipper, and we're going to make a magic circle. And if you've never done one before, you'll probably have to watch this a few times, this little section. I still have a difficult time with them. I'm trying to see if there's an easier way to do it, but for right now, you want to take your tail on the left side, wrap it around your 3 fingers, and cross it over. Get it in here right. Cross it over, turn your fingers around, grab it with your pinky, and I've got the underside held with my thumb. You go under that first piece of yarn with your hook, and you grab the back piece of yarn and you pull it through, and you turn your hook around, grab that other piece of yarn in the back and pull it through that loop, which creates a chain stitch right there. Now you can let your fingers drop out while you hold it with your thumb, and we are going to start off with a half double crochet. We're going to do 10 half double crochets into the circle. Here's the first one. You pull up the yarn, you go into the circle, You pull the yarn up again, you come back through the circle, pull up the yarn again, and pull it all 3 loops on your hook. And this is your half double crochet. Okay, we're going to do that again. And I'm going to put a stitch marker in that spot where I did my first half double crochet. It is a little bit hard to see this yarn sometimes, and that's one reason why it makes it easier. So I'm just putting it under that 2 pieces of yarn that signifies my first half double crochet. See those 2 pieces? And now I'm going to make my second. Pull up the yarn, go into the circle, grab the yarn, come back through, grab the yarn again, and go through all 3 loops on the hook. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time. And there you have 3 half double crochets in your magic circle. All right, so I'm probably going to speed this up a little bit for you. And we're going to get to the 9th one. Nine. And 10. Okay, so we have done our 10 half double crochets. We are going to slip stitch into the first one. But before we do that, we are going to pull our yarn. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to just pull it like that. And we're going to take our tail and we're going to tighten this up. Let me pull this out like this. All right, grab my tail, my little itty bitty tail. Okay, now we're going to tighten this up. Pull it tight. Try not to break it off. We've tightened everything up. Okay, I'm going to take my stitch marker out so you can see better. But we do know, remember that's the first one there. Okay, you see how that's tightened up? I'm going to put this back in and pull that tight back up. Now I'm going to do 2 half double crochets. First I'm going to slip stitch back together. Okay, so this is the first one we did. You want to go under there, whoops, to do our slip stitch. Grab the yarn, come back through, go back through this loop on the hook. Okay. Now we are starting row 2. Now you're going to chain 1. We're going to go right back in there and do 2 half double crochets. Here's 1. And here's 2. Right back in that same spot where you just did that one. There's your second half double crochet. So we just did 2 half double crochets in that first half double crochet from the previous row, and we're going to do 2 half double crochets in each one around. So I'm going to go under, I'm going to pull up my yarn, I'm going to go right under that one. I'm going to grab my yarn again, come back through, and grab my yarn, go through all 3. Okay. Now, if you're going in between the posts, it's hard to go just under those two pieces of yarn. That's fine for this first round. If it's easier for you to just to go right in between rather than under the two, and just do that again. Go into the same spot, bring it back through. Okay, so we've got 4 so far. We're going to go into the next one. Just go in there and do 2. Here's 1, and here's 2. And we are working on round 2. When you get to round 3, it'll be easier to go under the 2 loops. It's strictly up to you. So keep doing this. I'm going to do 2 in this one. Okay, here's 1, and here is 2. Okay, and it's coming along. I can tighten that up. Get that tightened up just a little more. There we go. Okay, that's better. So I'm going to meet you right here before we slip stitch together. And then when we're done, we should have 20 half double crochets. My 20 half double crochets, you can count backwards if you want. We're going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet from the previous row. You can take your stitch marker out, or you can use it to help you get your hook underneath there, and just grab your yarn, pull it through, and pull it through the yarn on the hook. You've done your slip stitch. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. Some way, somehow. It just got stuck. Here we go. Let's begin row 3. And we're going to chain 1. And we're going to do, in that same spot, we're going to do a half double crochet. So pull up your yarn, go in that spot, same spot, pull up your yarn, pull it back through, and go through all 3. All right, here is your new first half double crochet of this row. I'm going to put a stitch marker right in there. And now we're going to do round 3. So on round 3, all we're going to do is a half double crochet in each one of these half double crochets. So we will end up with 20 again. And actually rows 3 through 10, because this is for my size, which is 7.5, I ended up doing 10 rows to fit my foot. And again, you can just, when you get to that point, you just slip it on your foot, make sure it's up to your ankle. Maybe it might take 11 rows, might take 9. It depends on your foot and how tight you stitch. So let's go ahead and do our half double crochets all the way around. I'll do one more for you. And just make sure you count when you're done with this row. Make sure you have 20 stitches. Right, so far I've done 2. And when you come back around, you want to do just what you did before. You're going to slip stitch, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to do a half double crochet in that same spot. And I will go ahead and meet you at the end here just to do that part, and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, let's see here. All right, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch. And I'm going to go right in here. You can take your stitch marker out if you want. And pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through. I've done my slip stitch, taken my stitch marker out. Row 4 is beginning now. Chain 1, go right back into that same spot, and do my next half double crochet. And this is my round 4. And I am going to meet you when I am to round or row 10. And I will show you how to do the heel. I forgot to mention, if you want to go ahead and sew in your end at this point, rather than waiting for it to get too long and then you got to flip it inside out, all you have to do is flip it inside out now. Take your white eye needle. I'm going to thread this. Okay, got that in. Now, all you have to do is just take your end here and just go under a couple of strands of yarn. And we're just going to go under like so. Just push it through. Boom. Okay, and then go back the other way. And just grab a couple more strands of yarn. Go under. You can do this 2 or 3 times, but that should be secure enough this yarn, the way this yarn is. Usually I'll do it one more time, but that's fine. And then just cut it off. You're done with that little straggler. Pull it back around and continue stitching. All right, see you at row 10. Okay, so here it is on my foot, my 10 rows, and now we're going to start the heel. All right, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to close this up. I'm going to just go right under here, do my slip stitch. Let's start the heel section. And I'm going to chain 1. Now we're going to start the heel. And with the heel, we're going to turn our work. I've chained 1. We're going to turn our work this way, and we're going to work this way. And what we're going to do is 15 half double crochets, starting at that first half double crochet. So we just did our chain 1 here. We're going to go in that same spot, do a half double crochet. That's our first one. And we're going to do 15 of them. I'll do the second one right under there. Okay, 13 to go. I will meet you when we finish 15 half double crochets. Okay, I just finished doing my 15 half double crochets. Working on the heel, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, go back the other way, and we're going to do 15 half double crochets again. Here's the first one. Go all the way to the end. We're going to chain 1 and come back so that we end up having a total of 4 of these rows. So we've done 1, we're on our second one. When you get to the end, you chain 1, you turn, you go back the other way. So I will meet you when we are done with doing 4 rows. And then we will finish off the heel. Now we're going to do our 5th row, chain 1, and we're going to do 5 half double crochets. This is going to be our decrease row, and first we're going to go right back into that same spot. This is our first half double crochet. Here's our second one. Just bear with me here, we'll get through this. Here's number 3. That's 3 half double crochets. Here's number 4. And 4 is done. Here's 5. And now what we're going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are going to do 2 half double crochets together in the next 2 stitches. So you pick up the yarn, you go into that previous half double crochet stitch, pull up the yarn, bring it back through. You have 3 loops on your hook. Pick up the yarn again, go into the next stitch, the next half double crochet of that previous row, pull the yarn through, grab the yarn and go through all 5 loops on your hook. This is what will decrease the heel and make it curve. Now in our next stitch, we're just going to do another half double crochet just like before, just a regular one. Just your regular half double crochet. Then our next one is going to be a decrease. So we're going to do a half double crochet to start. Pull up your yarn, bring it through. You have 3 loops on the hook and stop. Grab your yarn, go into the next stitch. Grab your yarn, bring it back through. You have 5 loops on the hook. Grab your yarn and go through all 5 loops on the hook. Now you've done your next decrease. Now the last 5 stitches, you just do regular half double crochets in each one remaining. So just go all the way down to the end. Just a couple more stitches to go. We will sew our heel together and put the fringe on, and we will be done. Get my last stitch in here. Gave me a hard time. All right, that's the last one of that 5th row. All right, pulling out the hook, and there you have the 5th row all done. Okay, I'm going to put my hook back in, tighten that up, and I'm going to do a chain. Take my hook back out. We're going to pull that through. You want to cut a very long tail because you're going to use that to sew the heel together. So I guess I'm doing, I don't know, about 20 inches here. Maybe longer than I need, but we will go ahead and use that thread. Let me put my hook back in so that I can pull that all the way through. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now we're going to put the 2 pieces together, the 2 sides, and you can either use a needle, a wide-eyed needle, to sew that together, and you can sew it on the outside or the inside. We're going to do the inside part, so I'm just going to flip it sort of inside out there. So again, you can use a wide-eye needle and sew it if you know how to do that. With this project, I decided I'm just going to try doing a slip stitch, and we're just going to put that thread through there, and we're just going to slip stitch all the way to the end. All right, so I actually had to tear a row out because I realized I did my 4th row like my 5th row and I was missing a row. So I have ended up on this side, and I'm going to fold it inside out to slip stitch along the heel of the sock. Got my yarn right here, and I know I'm on the back side here, but I'm just going to go ahead and just come on over into the front here, go under those 2 stitches, come over here, grab the stitches there, pull the yarn right through all of that and the loop on the hook, and now you can go from front to back. I'm going to go under these 2, and I'm going to just grab this over here. Just try to stay even with it. I think I grabbed too many pieces there. Here we go. And just grab your yarn and just pull it through all of them and the loop on the hook. And you're going to do this all the way down to the end. Go underneath. And go underneath that side. See what we're doing here? We're just pulling it through, doing a slip stitch. Do it again. Right there. Pull it through and pull it through. Again, under there, under there. It's starting to get a little tight. Get to the end, finally. Go under and under, grab the yarn, bring it through, and let's do this one last little piece right here. Make sure we're getting under there. Pull it through, and go ahead and do your last chain stitch. And since we cut our yarn before, we just pull it all the way out. And then what we're going to do is just weave this to hide it, okay? Okay, probably won't need this much, but I'm just going to weave this end so it'll be hidden, and I'm just going to go like right through here, pull it through, and I'm just going to go right back through that way, and then I'm just going to continue going like under here. This is just to get this thread hidden, okay? So I'm just going to come back the other way. I'm just going to go under here, and you're just going under through a few strands of yarn just to get this so it won't come out when you wash it. All right, so that should be enough. 3 of them. I can do one more for good measure. Just kind of go under there. Okay, so there was no rhyme or reason to that. Just get it under the stitches. It's not going to show up. Just cut it off. So just weaved in that loose end. So then you just pull it right side out. And here's your heel. Now you can leave the slipper just like this. You don't have to put the fuzzy piece on there if you don't have any. But we are going to continue on and add the fuzzy piece, which is a single crochet, very simple, and then we'll be done. Okay, now we're going to put our little trim, our little fuzzy trim, and this is going to be the right side of the slipper. Go ahead and do your slip knot. I'm doing mine like this, crossing it over, and just go under there and grab it and bring it around. And tighten it up on my hook. And actually, I like to do it this way when I add this. I just took my hook back out. I'm just going to go into the center of the back. And whoops. Just going to go under a couple of stitches here. Okay. Then I'm going to slip that on. Now, you want to do single crochets. I'm just going to bring that right back, right through here, right through that stitch. We've got that connected. And to do your single crochet, you want to go into this next stitch right here. Just go under there, grab your yarn, pull it through. You have 2 loops on the hook. You grab your yarn and you go through 2. And these are not exact stitches along here, so you're just kind of spacing it as evenly as you can. Just go underneath a couple of stitches, grab your yarn, come back through. 2 loops on the hook, grab your yarn, go back through. And just keep doing that. I think it's probably better to grab a couple of pieces of yarn rather than one piece, because it might stretch it too much. But just do this all the way around the edge. If you want it thicker, you can come around 2 times. You can do single crochet all the way around, and you can do it again. This was 1 time right here. Okay, I'll do one more. I'm just going in here, using the hook part of my hook to get it in there, and go through 2. I'm going to meet you right here at the end. Okay, so now we've come to the end, and we're going to slip stitch. You can't really see the stitch, so you're just going to feel for it, and you're just going to put your crochet hook into a fuzzy piece where you started. Right there looks good. Just go ahead and stick your hook in there and grab your yarn and pull it back through and pull it through the loop on the hook. Now you want to do a chain, and we're going to cut the yarn and pull it the rest of the way through. And once we pull it through, we're going to hide that little straggler by using our wide-eyed needle, blunt needle, and just weave it in. So we're going to do that next. Okay, we've got our needle threaded, and we are just going to go on the inside of the slipper and just go under a couple pieces of yarn, a couple of little stitches there. You can't really see them, but it doesn't really matter. You're just going to hide this yarn. I'm just pushing it through a couple pieces there. And then I'll just come back the other direction. Just grab a couple more pieces of yarn, pull it through, and cut that off at the base. And then you have one other straggler that you're going to have to do the same thing to, and your slipper will be all finished. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed making these slippers. They're very cozy. I love them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I have more projects to come. And thanks again, and I hope 2021 will be a better year for all of us. Thanks again.